but she has a new course. It's not really that new, but Upholstery Uncovered. And I love your outfit. Welcome, Richelle.
Thank you. Oops, I just got it pulled through here. Hi. Thank
Hi.
you for welcome.
Welcome. I know you want to share on your page as well. I don't know if you can do that now or you want to do it.
That's kind of why I'm a little discombobulated. I was like, okay.
Go ahead. You start sharing while I just talk a little bit about how this came to my attention. So
I love that idea. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Okay. So one of my friends mentioned to me, who is an interior designer and also in this group, mentioned to me that she took a course about upholstery and that it was fabulous. And I thought, really, who's doing that? Because everyone knows I teach the business side, but when it comes to the actual side of interior design, the knowledge you need to be an interior designer, we all know that the university courses, the licensing courses, sometimes are lacking, and there's really not a lot of detail about upholstery. So when I heard about Richelle's, at the time I heard about it, it was a new course. Now it's gone for a couple of times. They said it was fantastic. My friend told me about you, and I thought, you know what? I think this group needs to know about this course. So I contacted Richelle and said, I'd love to give you some opportunity to talk about the course in the group so that people who need it and feel they want to get educated even more on upholstery can do that, which is why we're here live today. So welcome, Richelle.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm just so excited and trying to get in the holiday spirit. And I did finally overcome my tech challenges. So I'm good at a lot of things, but tech continues to be a challenge. I think we all know that. But I was just so thrilled when I got your message, and I agree. There just isn't enough information out there about really what lies beneath the pretty fabric. And that was part of the description, is that there's so much confusion and misunderstanding in the industry about value engineered pieces, why one client can see, a sofa that looks at $1,500, they look almost identical to a $10,000 sofa. And my goal is to educate design professionals, interior designers, so that they can empower their clients to make an informed decision about whether they want to invest in that $10,000 sofa, and the benefits of why, and that's just a number I'm pulling out, but the benefits of why different manufacturing methods suit their clients' needs. I mean, not everybody needs something overbuilt, but at least you can be armed with the education to explain why.
And I think it's really important. I know a lot of the interior designers I coach do not live in areas where they're able to take a client into a showroom, sit on something, explain the way it's been built so that it will last a certain amount of years or that it's good for this type of environment. So they are selling a lot sight unseen. And I think the knowledge of how the furniture is made is so key for them to look like the professionals that they are. Give them that little bit of edge up with the client to explain, like you said, why they're spending so much money for something that looks exactly the same as something down the block at a different store. Right. So what made you come up with this course, and let's start with this. Tell everyone how long you've been an interior designer.
Oh gosh, I've been in the interior design industry in some form or other since 1992. That's a long time. Yeah, in some form or other. I've mixed paint. I've managed wallpaper showrooms. I've sewn draperies myself. Worked for a workroom. Then I moved into owning my own small workroom in a basement, and I did some pillows, window treatments, some slip covers, and then just kind of evolved into owning an upholstery workroom. And in my upholstery workroom, we specialized in restoring vintage seating. And that's kind of a niche market within reupholstery. So a lot of upholsterers could do everything. They will do everything from marine upholstery to automotive upholstery. So within that industry, there's kind of a niching down. And my specialty and my favorite that we did within our shop was vintage, which there's a lot of things about vintage and antique pieces that's a little bit different from just recovering a piece that might be 10 years old. So having that opportunity to see how pieces wear in real life over generations gave me the knowledge about, how plywood wears, how sinuous springs wear, how fabric wears. So I took all of that knowledge, and being involved with different Facebook groups, people would post, well, what do you know about this? What do you think about that fabric? What's the difference between 8-way hand tying and coil spring construction? And what is drop-in units and sinuous, all of these things. And so I would pop in and do a quick answer here and there. And a girlfriend of mine posted in a thing, said, Richelle, do you have a course for this? I'm like,
so smart.
I was like, I don't have an official one, but we can make that happen. And so that was during the pandemic, and I just hunkered down, put it together, had a beta group. And so far, I have had 175 students.
Oh my goodness.
I've had 175 students, and I love it. This is the thing that just makes my little heart shine. I love it.
You know what? This is such a good example. Like when I'm meeting with my clients, I'm like, what do you love to do? And like, they really always doubt that they can make a living in just like this niche. But that's really, I mean, I'm known for that statement, right? Niche, I say it in my New York way, niche is rich and broad is broke. I love that you're doing this. I want you to tell everyone like how long the course is, what they can expect to come out of the course knowing that they may not know today, and the confidence they're going to have in proficiency in this area.
Well, some of the feedback I've had from students, both newbies, new designers, and very well-seasoned designers, is that this is information that they never got in school, ever got in school. And, why would they? So, but I think with the advent of internet and pieces being available to be purchased online, it's really important to arm ourselves with the knowledge of what is different between this retail piece and what we have with our great trade vendors. And that's what they're going to learn, is the value engineering. And the course is 6 weeks long.
Okay.
Each session is between 60 and 90 minutes. Each one is recorded because, life, we all have things we have to do. So you can view at any time. I have a private Facebook group for my students, and they can pop in at any time and say, hey, what do we think of this fabric? Let's do a live test about, how does Krypton work compared to Inside Out or a PET. So we kind of jump in and talk about a lot of different things that are upholstery related. I see Mimi just popped in.
Yeah. I put it up. Mimi said, took the class, and Richelle is brilliant and shares her expertise in such a clear way. She's a natural educator. Definitely recommend her course.
So thank you.
Thanks, Mimi. That's fabulous.
That was sweet.
This is why I want to back this course too. So it's once a week for 6 weeks, and it is recorded so they can get the replay. Mm-hmm. Is it live on the screen where they can ask you questions, or is it more webinar style?
And that, I think, is another key difference between what I do or what I offer, is that if you're someone who needs that live interaction, that, hey, wait a minute, I didn't understand what you said. Let's backtrack a minute and talk about it. We can do that. And that's the beauty of it being live. It's not pre-recorded. It's right there. It's happening. You're in the thick of it. And my students, one of the things I improved on this upcoming one is that each student gets up to 60 minutes of private project mentoring. Ooh. So what I found that's happened over the period of time is that we learn some things, and it's kind of like driving. You'll learn a little bit here and you'll learn a little bit there, but you don't realize how to put the pieces together until you have a project in front of you. Mm-hmm. So a lot of my clients will learn the education, but until they have a piece or a client or a project, they have to go back and revisit and go, what was it you said? So that's why I always encourage my students to stay in it's a free Facebook group, so you can pop in and ask. You can crowdsource within the people who have had the class and have the knowledge. And then of course, adding on that one-on-one, hey, tell me about this. So
Right.
I've had people pop in and ask me about reupholstery projects, selecting fabric, even custom building ottomans. So I work with you one-on-one on that.
So part of the course is
Uh-huh.
the private Facebook group, the 60-minute one-on-one mentoring
Yep.
at some point if they need it on a specific project
Yep.
within the 6 weeks,
Oh
or
no. Well, I mean, 5 years down the line, you might need to, you probably won't need to remind me, but I mean, yeah, I just keep track of it. And if someone needs additional time, and even if they haven't been in the course, I do mentoring, private project mentoring. So I have that, but it comes in with the course because I've just found that people need it. And I've had them ask about window treatments, which is another thing that I've been asked to put a course together, and I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking about it.
yeah, I think that's a really good idea because window treatments is one of the areas that the designers can make a decent living, make a lot of money on, do it right for their clients the first time without mistakes. And sometimes they just don't have the knowledge and they're leaning a lot on their workrooms and they
Yeah,
want to know more themselves. And then, it's kind of a double check with the workroom
right,
too, to make sure
right,
both people know what's going on, not just the workroom,
right.
right?
And that's true for upholsterers too. You need to come in armed with enough knowledge that you can speak the language and ask the questions, because if you don't know, you don't know, right?
Right.
And that's
Right.
where expensive mistakes can happen. And sometimes workrooms, they get busy. They have their own standards of doing things. But if you don't know what that standard is and you don't have that conversation on the front end, it might be that you get something different than what you're anticipating. So a good example of that is if you're working with a reupholstery workroom or a vendor, and you're thinking that a piece should pattern match in a particular way, and that particular vendor does not have four-way flow match, you may get, who knows what you're going to get. So that's one of the things we talk about. We also talk about, well, what does a plaid or geometric stripe look like on the bias versus up the roll? Completely different aesthetics. So if you know that that is how the piece is constructed to begin with, then you can manage that expectation with your designs and go, well, maybe I want to do a contrast welt that's a solid, or maybe I want to specify this up the roll so that my patterns do match. And just so you know, a stripe on the bias will never, ever, ever match an up the roll stripe because it stretches the pattern, and it's geometry. And if you just pull back and go, yeah, it is geometry, then a lot of the common sense questions are immediately answered.
And I think this prevents so many problems that designers have when they'll pick a pretty
Expensive
fabric,
one. Mm-hmm.
right? Yeah,
Expensive projects.
oh my goodness, yeah. They pick a pretty fabric. Their upholsterer maybe doesn't tell them that it's going to not look right on the bias or on this side or that.
Right, right.
That is what you're teaching them. Don't make these
Exactly.
mistakes. And then you're there for them when they actually have a project and they
Yep.
continue in this Facebook group to ask opinions specifically right now about upholstery.
Exactly. That you nailed it. That's what I do. This is what I love. This is my happy place.
I love it. I think this is going to be huge for you. How much is the course?
Well, the course is regularly $5.99, so it's about $100 a week. Plus, you get that bonus value of the $179 bonus value of the interactive one-to-one,
Which is very
but
high value, by the way.
well, here's the deal. I want it to be I want it to be achievable,
Right.
for everyone. I have heard feedback that it should be probably twice that for the price, but my goal is to make sure that people learn it and that they can come back and reabsorb it. And I do have a refresher course available. So I've had students who've gone through and they're like, oh, I need to do it again. And they can either hop on a live or they can officially re-enroll at a lower rate.
At a discounted price.
At a
Okay.
discounted price. So
Okay.
my goal is to make sure people really do get it and understand it. And it is much less than the price of a sofa for most of our trade vendors. And if you've ever made an expensive mistake, it's like this compared to an expensive yardage or product mistake. And I will tell you this one thing.
Why?
People are weird about their upholstery. If you mess up if you mess up a coffee table or an end table, they're like, yeah, okay, whatever. You mess up a sofa, you're toast. You are toast. You've lost credibility. You've lost the ability to have, a legacy client who might want to go room by room with you. That is the trust factor right there. You can make a beautiful thing and it can look beautiful, but if their tushy hurts and they're uncomfortable watching Netflix because they were sold something that looked away and they were not educated and informed because maybe they did want to up price and get a different type of cushion.
Right. Right. I mean, it's a matter of using the knowledge to also be able to upsell, which makes the designer more money also, right? It's about the comfort of your client. It's also about the way the sofa is going to look, but also with what they learn in this class, if they're able to upsell to a better fabric, a better frame, something that's going to hold up, something that the client actually needs, their
Right.
percentage of profit on those higher quality items is also higher. So that's
that. And I'm going to throw in also, maybe they don't need all the things. Maybe
right.
your client has a tight budget and they need all the things in one room and they have, a smaller scale budget and they need everything. So if you can communicate with your client and say, hey, this is a great piece. We're going to expect to revisit this conversation in 2 years. They're going to be so much happier with you, because they're able to get all the things with that budget and they have made an informed decision. That's what it's all about. We don't need to over purchase or under purchase. It's finding the right piece for that client, for that budget.
I think that is right there, informed decision. That if you are not informed, then you can't inform your client. And you will look more like the expert that you are if you actually have the expertise and the knowledge behind you.
Right. And that's the goal. That
is the goal. I feel like a lot of designers don't sell custom for fear because they don't have the knowledge. And this is the opportunity for them to gain the knowledge, at least in this one area. And you have another course coming out, right?
I do. I haven't really promoted it. It's just kind of living under the
first time here.
Well, yeah, first time here. Okay, so it's called "Is It Worth It?" So is it worth it to have a piece reupholstered? So we all know we're having great supply chain issues and very long lead times with our vendors, and justifiably so. We understand why. So the next logical thought is, well, what about a vintage piece? What about an antique piece? What about a piece that they already own? How would we work with what we have, and is it worth it? So quick flow chart. Do you love it? Yes, it's worth it. Is it older than 30 years? It probably is worth it. So is it 8-way hand tied with a spring front rail? And if you don't know what that is, you need my class.
I was going to say, I'm not a full designer. Everybody knows that. And I do not have any idea what that means. But I think you guys
would learn. So, but that's kind of the flow chart, that the quick, and this is a 1 hour long class, live interactive class, that you would be able to answer, is it worth it?
And that's on your website as well.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
So I should mention that 10% discount is good for any of the resources.
Oh, wonderful. Okay. So use in all caps, Nancy 10, and you will get 10% off of Richelle's courses. Then now there's 2. So tell them when this one starts, Upholstery Uncovered. And how many people do you like to take in the class?
I prefer 50 or less.
Okay.
Because of the fact that I want the accountability. So if you don't show up, I know that I can go, okay, everything all right? What's going on with you? I like that accountability and that interactive bit. I have no desire to have 200 anonymous people. I want that one-to-one relationship with my students. So they get to know me, I get to know them. So it's limited to 50 students each session. It starts Thursday, January 6th, and that is at 7 p.m. Central Time. And the recordings are uploaded with, about 24 hours, within 24 hours, so you can watch the next day if you missed it. 6 weeks long. We cover the first 3 is frames, then foundation and cushions and paddings. And then we go over fabrics, fabric construction, and then custom application of fabrics. So that's to make sure that what you're envisioning is what it's going to look like in the end. But we talk about solid lumber versus engineered hardwood, the different paddings, the different cushion constructions, what suits your fanny.
I was going to say,
I know I started to say it and I said, wait, no, I can say fanny.
You can say fanny. I have said worse, but yes, you're a lady compared to me in New York here. No, that was good. No, I really think this is one of the stumbling blocks for a lot of designers that I coach on the business side, even that they're like, well, I can't sell it because I don't feel like I know enough about it. And the fact that you now have a class that can teach them, it is reasonably priced. It's a reasonable length of time. It's an amazing amount of support for the price. I think anyone who's iffy about selling upholstery, reupholstery, not understanding the quality and the differences and everything you've just said, I think they need to run to this course, because the knowledge they gain is going to be forever, and it's going to continue to pay them over and over again. Once you have the knowledge, you can't get rid of it, right? So it's really important for them to have this. They don't teach this in design school.
Not to this level. No, they don't. They teach us the marketing terms. And that's the other thing that I like to discuss with my students, is that we're all taught 8-way hand-tied, solid kiln-dried lumber, but what exactly do those mean? And we go over some spec sheets. So I teach you how to read a spec sheet and to decipher whether the coils really belong where they are telling us that they've put them. So there's a couple of big box, large vendor companies who, when you read the spec sheet, you understand why this particular cloud type looking sofa looks the way it does in about 6 months of use.
Interesting. So, all right, if anyone has any questions, post them below, even after we are done going live, because Richelle can come and check and answer any questions for you about her course. I think it's a great way to start the new year. I'm starting my next group in January as well. We're almost full up. We only have 1 slot left. But knowledge of your expertise is never, to get your knowledge of what you do for a living even more secure is never a waste of money, ever.
And my friend Ragni, she is a professional upholsterer. So if you need to check out her page. She does some really creative things with vintage and antique pieces. And yes, Ragni, I do speak about upholstery workroom etiquette. I got you. Awesome. How to work with an upholsterer, because the communication is important. It needs to be a win-win relationship for both parties.
Absolutely. All right, we're going to end on that note. So thank you for being here, Richelle, and sharing your knowledge the way you do with everyone. And I have to be clear, there are times that I've coached interior designers to become kitchen and bath coaches. I've coached them to become rendering coaches. I have never coached you. I just saw this and I thought, brilliant that you could take your knowledge and turn it into something that almost everybody needs. They don't have enough knowledge of this area. So congratulations to you on doing this.
Yeah.
All right. All right, everyone, go have a great rest of your day, and happy New Year and Merry Christmas to those who celebrate, and Kwanzaa, and Happy Hanukkah past. But I will see you in the group. Thanks for being here. Bye, everyone.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.